The story begins with a teenage boy named Max, sitting alone on the roof of his house. He seems lost in thought, just staring into the distance, when suddenly his mom, Molly, calls him downstairs. She tells him that his dad used to sit on that same roof all the time, and for some reason that memory scares her. You see, Max's father, Jim, was a brilliant scientist, but he died in a mysterious accident when Max was still very young. Because of that, Max barely remembers anything about him. And what makes things even stranger, Molly never really talks about Jim at all. After Jim's death, Molly kept moving from place to place with Max, never staying anywhere for long. But now, after many years, they finally returned to their old home. Molly tells Max, "We're home," but Max isn't fully convinced. Deep down, he still feels like they might leave again at any moment. When Max enters his room, something immediately catches his attention, a small galaxy-themed toy. Molly tells him that his dad actually made it for him. That moment feels special, but suddenly, the electricity in the room starts glitching, lights flicker, things begin to malfunction, and Molly quickly tells Max to get some rest before leaving the room. Curious, Max reaches his hand toward the TV screen, and something unbelievable happens. Strange energy waves start forming on the display, almost like the screen is reacting to him. Max just stands there, completely shocked, not understanding what's going on. The next day, Max gets ready and heads to college on his bike. On the way, he passes by a huge abandoned facility with a restricted area sign outside. This place used to be a major science research center, and years ago, his dad Jim actually worked there. Just then, Max gets a call from his mom, but as he tries to answer it, the same strange energy waves appear on his phone screen, and suddenly it shuts off completely. Now Max is starting to panic. None of this makes sense to him. Trying to ignore it, he continues toward college, but suddenly he crashes into a pickup truck and gets thrown off his bike. The driver, a girl named Sophia, rushes over to check on him. Max feels this weird energy inside his body again, but he brushes it off and tells her he's fine. Sophia smiles and tells him to meet her after college. She'll fix his bike. And just like that, she drives away. When Max finally reaches college, he learns something surprising. His dad was actually very famous there. Even his teachers knew Jim personally. After class, Max sees a photo of his dad with other scientists displayed on the wall. That's when it really hits him. His father wasn't just any scientist, he was someone important. And that realization hurts, because Max barely knows anything about him. Later, Max meets Sophia outside. She takes him to her place, fixes his bike like she promised, and the two of them start talking. There's an instant connection between them, and it feels like Max has finally made a real friend. After that, Max heads back home. But when he arrives, he notices someone unexpected. Mr. Miles, a scientist, is visiting. Max learns from his mom that Miles used to work with his father. In fact, he was there the day Jim died during that experiment. Hearing this makes Max even more curious. For the first time, he feels like he might finally uncover the truth about his dad, something his mom has always kept hidden. During dinner, Max finds out that Mr. Miles is now the head of N-Tech, the same company where his dad once worked. And it was actually Miles who convinced Molly to come back to this city. Meanwhile, in another location, deep inside an old abandoned factory, we see the same lab where Jim used to work. For years, something mysterious had been sealed inside that place. But now, because Max is nearby, that thing suddenly becomes active. With a massive blast, the water inside a containment structure rises into the air and freezes mid-motion. The scientists present there are completely stunned. This isn't normal. It's like the water itself has come to life. One of the scientists slowly reaches out to touch it, but at that exact moment, another scientist shuts down the lab's power. Darkness takes over the entire facility, and in that chaos, the mysterious object that had been trapped inside the water finally escapes. It flies out of the lab at incredible speed, and despite their best efforts, neither the guards nor the scientists are able to stop it. In the next scene, we see Max again. After Mr. Miles leaves, Max sits down with his laptop and starts digging into the incident that caused his father's death. He's determined to finally uncover the truth. While searching online, Max comes across some old CCTV footage from that night. From what he sees, there was a massive storm when his dad died, but something about it doesn't feel right. In fact, the scientists back then suspected that it wasn't a natural storm at all. But just as Max is about to dive deeper into the mystery, his laptop suddenly shuts off, just like his phone did earlier. Now Max is frustrated, angry, confused. In a moment of rage, he slams his hand onto the table, and suddenly, a strange energy wave bursts out from his hand. Max freezes. He can't believe what he's seeing. The energy is literally coming out of his body. As he slowly closes his fist, the energy disappears. Then he opens his hand again, and this time, the energy shoots out even more powerfully. The lights in the room instantly go out, and Max gets thrown to the ground. At this point, Max realizes something huge. This energy, it's not random. It's coming from him, and somehow, it's his power. The next day, determined to understand it, Max gathers some equipment and heads into the nearby forest. He wants to practice to control whatever this is, but things don't go as planned. No matter how hard he tries, he can't control the energy. It becomes unstable, and suddenly, a fire breaks out in the forest. Shaken, Max later goes back to college, but now, he can't focus on anything else. He keeps sketching the strange energy waves coming out of his hand, trying to make sense of it. It's all he can think about. That's when Sophia shows up. It's clear now. She's starting to like Max, so the two of them decide to hang out and go to a restaurant together. But while talking to her, Max suddenly starts feeling off. Something isn't right. His body begins to react again. He quickly rushes to the restroom, and there it is. The energy is back. This time, it's even worse. The glowing energy is not just in his hands anymore. It's spreading through his entire body. Even his eyes are glowing. Max panics. He tries to control it, but as he struggles, the lights in the restroom go out. Now in complete darkness, Max's entire body starts glowing with energy. Terrified, he runs out, apologizes to Sophia, and leaves the restaurant immediately. He doesn't stop running until he reaches the forest again. But what Max doesn't know is, he's being watched. That mysterious alien object that escaped from the lab is now observing him. It can clearly see the powerful energy radiating from Max's body. Meanwhile, Max is completely overwhelmed, frustrated and scared. He screams at the top of his lungs, and suddenly, a massive energy pulse explodes out of his body. The force is so intense that Max collapses and loses consciousness right there. When Max wakes up, he finds himself back in his room. Confused, he looks around. How did I get here? He clearly remembers passing out in the forest. Then he notices something strange. His t-shirt is completely burned. As he removes it and looks in the mirror, he sees burn marks all over his body. Before he can even process it, he senses something behind him. A presence, a floating object. Terrified, he quickly backs away and locks himself inside, but the object follows him in, and then, it speaks. It calls his name and tells him to calm down. Max is completely shocked. The object introduces itself. My name is Steel, and I'm an alien from space. Steel explains that in the forest, it was the one who absorbed the massive energy pulse that came out of Max's body and saved his life. Because if that energy had stayed inside him, his body wouldn't have been able to handle it. He would have literally exploded. Steel then tells Max something even more important. He needs him, because Steel survives by absorbing the energy that Max produces, and in return, he can help protect Max from whatever is coming, which means they're both connected, and now, they need each other to survive. Now Max finally understands what Steel was trying to tell him, so he takes Steel with him and heads into the forest, hoping to learn more about his powers. But they're not alone anymore. The lab guards have also tracked Steel's location and arrive in the forest. The moment they spot Max and Steel, they start chasing them. Max panics and begins running, with Steel guiding him along the way. While escaping, Max suddenly starts seeing strange blurry visions. At first he doesn't understand what's happening, but these aren't his memories, they're Steel's. Because now the two of them are connected. Steel's past is appearing in Max's mind like flashes. Somehow they manage to escape the guards and get away safely. The next day, Max hides Steel inside his backpack and heads to college. But things aren't normal anymore. When Sophia meets him and asks if he wants to hang out again, Max awkwardly refuses and walks away. The real reason, Steel is inside his bag and making noise. Max can't risk anyone finding out. After that, Max takes Steel to an old abandoned factory. This place becomes their secret training ground. Steel starts teaching Max how to control and use his powers, how to fight, how to focus, how to survive, and for the first time, Max actually feels excited about his abilities. Then Steel does something incredible. To help Max unlock his full potential, Steel merges with his body. A high-tech robotic suit forms around Max, making him stronger, faster, and far more powerful than before. Max is no longer just a normal teenager, but at that moment, more visions hit him, stronger this time. Since Steel is merged with him, Max can now clearly see everything from Steel's past, and what he sees changes everything. He sees robots attacking his father in the lab. He sees chaos, destruction, and a massive storm forming, the same storm that caused Jim's death. Now Max realizes this wasn't an accident. Something much bigger was behind it. Determined to learn the truth about these mysterious Ultralinks creatures, Max decides to meet Mr. Miles. After all, Miles had given him his card and told him to visit any time. So Max hides Steel in his bag again and rides his bike toward Miles's office. But on the way, he runs into Sophia once again, literally crashing into her truck. Sophia clearly likes Max and wants to spend time with him. And honestly, Max wants that too. But then he notices a black car parked nearby, with people watching him. Max quickly apologizes to Sophia and leaves, trying to avoid those men. But they start following him. Now things get serious. Max tells Steel to handle them while he escapes. Steel flies out and blasts the tires of the black car, slowing them down. Meanwhile, Max jumps into Sophia's truck and continues toward Mr. Miles' office. When Max finally meets Miles, he directly asks him about his father, what really happened that night. Miles shows him a device and explains that it was designed to harness energy. He tells Max that his father was a brilliant scientist, but sometimes he pushed experiments too far. And then he says something that hits hard. To gain something, sometimes you have to lose something. From that, Max understands what Miles is implying, that his father's death was his own fault. This makes Max emotional, and suddenly, he starts feeling that same overwhelming energy building up inside his body again. Not wanting to lose control, he quickly leaves the place. But outside, something even worse is happening. The weather suddenly turns violent. Strong winds start blowing, and within seconds, a massive tornado forms right in front of him. In the chaos, Max notices a woman trapped inside her car, unable to escape. Even in that moment, Max doesn't hesitate. He rushes in, fixes the car, and helps her get out safely, saving her life. But then Max realizes something shocking. This isn't a natural tornado, it's an attack. The Ultralinks aliens have taken the form of a tornado, and they're trying to kill him. Before things get worse, Steel arrives just in time and merges with Max again. With the suit activated, Max fights back, this time with full control, and with one powerful move, he destroys the Ultralinks and completely wipes out the tornado. But the moment the fight ends, the visions return, clearer than ever. Max now sees that these Ultralinks creatures are just like Steel, but dangerous. And it was one of them that created the storm that killed his father. Now the truth is finally coming together. This wasn't just an accident, it was an attack. After everything that just happened, Max turns to Steel and asks him a serious question. You look just like those alien robots, the ones who killed my dad. For a moment, things go quiet. Then Steel explains, those creatures are called the Ultralinks. They're extremely dangerous. They can control air and water, create massive storms, and their goal is nothing less than total destruction of the planet. But then Steel says something important. I'm not like them. Even though he looks the same, Steel claims he chose a different path. He wants to protect humans, not destroy them. But at this point, Max doesn't trust him anymore. Not after everything he's seen. Blinded by anger and confusion, Max attacks Steel and tells him to stay away. Then he storms off, heading back home. But when Max reaches his house, he freezes. Nentech guards are already there waiting for him, armed, ready. Max immediately realizes something is very wrong. With no other option, he runs to Sophia's house for help. When Sophia sees him in that condition, panicked, desperate, she gets scared. But Max pleads with her, telling her he'll explain everything later. Right now, he just needs her help. After a moment of hesitation, Sophia agrees. Max grabs her truck and a special glove, then rushes out again. On the way, Max calls Mr. Miles and tells him something shocking. His mom has been kidnapped. But what Max doesn't know yet is the truth. The people chasing him, the ones behind everything, are actually working for Miles. He's the real villain. Hearing Max, Miles pretends to help. He tells him that the kidnappers aren't after his mom, they're after him, and he warns Max to stay away from them. Then he tells Max to come to his father's old lab. Desperate for answers, Max agrees and heads straight there. Meanwhile, Sophia contacts Molly and tells her that Max is in serious trouble. Molly immediately understands what's going on. This has to be Miles. When she confronts one of the company guards and asks if Miles ordered them to eliminate Max, they confirm it. That's all she needed to hear. Furious, Molly reminds them that she is still the majority shareholder of the company, and they will follow her orders. She commands them to go and find her son, and just like that, the guards switch sides and rush out to look for Max. Meanwhile, Max arrives at his father's old lab. As soon as he steps inside, the visions return, stronger than ever. This time, he sees the full truth. He watches how that night unfolded, how the Ultralinks formed a massive tornado and attacked the lab. To stop them, Jim was about to merge with Steel, combining their power to fight back. And here's the shocking truth. Steel was originally one of the Ultralinks, but Jim had convinced him to switch sides to fight for humanity instead. Just as Jim was about to merge with Steel, the Ultralinks suddenly attacked earlier than expected. Chaos filled the lab. Everything started collapsing. Jim realizes something is wrong. They shouldn't have arrived this early, which means someone helped them. And then he sees it. The traitor was Mr. Miles. Miles admits it himself. He betrayed Jim because he wanted his power. He wanted control over that energy. But Jim refuses to let that happen. Instead of letting Miles take it, Jim releases all his energy at once and sacrifices himself in a massive explosion. That's how he died. Watching this, Max is completely broken. The truth hits him hard. But before he can process it, Miles himself arrives at the lab, and now he's wearing a powerful high-tech suit, one that allows him to absorb massive amounts of energy. He's stronger than ever. A fight breaks out between Max and Miles, but Max can't keep up. Miles is far too powerful. Then Miles gives him a choice: step into the machine, just like his father did, so he can absorb Max's energy too. For a moment, it seems like Max gives in. He steps inside the machine, but this time, things are different. Max unleashes an enormous energy pulse from his body, so powerful that it destroys the machine itself. And in that moment, Steel returns. They merge once again, and this time, Max reaches his ultimate form. With the full power of Steel and his advanced suit, Max is no longer just fighting to survive. He's ready to end this. After that, the battle between Max and Mr. Miles begins once again, and this time, it's even more intense. The entire lab turns into a war zone. Meanwhile, the N-Tech guards, now following Molly's orders, arrive at the scene and start firing at Miles, trying to stop him, but it doesn't work. Miles is too powerful. He easily overpowers the guards and continues attacking Max without holding back. Max quickly realizes something. He can't defeat Miles like this, not in a direct fight. So instead, he makes a risky decision. Max walks straight up to Miles and pretends to surrender. He tells him that he's ready to give up his energy. Miles, blinded by greed, accepts. And in that moment, Max starts transferring all of his energy into Miles' body. At first, it seems like Miles is winning, but then something goes wrong. Miles' high-tech suit and even his body can't handle that much energy. It becomes unstable, overloaded, and within seconds, boom, a massive explosion erupts. Miles is completely destroyed. Max has finally avenged his father's death, but the truth he discovers next changes everything. He learns that his father, Jim, wasn't just a human. He was actually an alien from another planet, and that's why he had those incredible powers. Which also means Max inherited those powers from him. At that moment, Molly arrives, and it turns out she already knew about Steel all along. She explains everything to Max. After Jim's death, she kept moving from city to city to protect Max from the Ultralinks. She knew that one day they might come after him too. And Mr. Miles, he always suspected that Max had inherited Jim's powers. That's why he brought them back. Later, Max returns home with his mom. There, Molly gives him something special, the key to that galaxy toy his father had made. After handing it to him, she quietly leaves the room. Max activates the toy and realizes something incredible. It's not just a toy, it's actually a map of the planet his father came from. Jim wanted his son to know the truth, to understand where he really came from. In the final scene, we see Max visiting Sophia. He apologizes for everything, for disappearing, for pushing her away. And this time, things feel different. They go out together, on a proper date. For the first time, Max's life feels normal, peaceful. If you enjoyed this video, check out this one. It's about 4 kids with superpowers, but they're not allowed to use them.